Gathered today to remember the life of longtime Brewer City Councilor Jerry Goss. Goss passed away in December at the age of 76. A celebration of life was held at the Brewer Community School Performing Arts Center. Among those in attendance was Senator Susan Collins, who considered Goss a friend. Collins talked about the variety of ways Goss touched the lives of so many people throughout his career. Throughout the different roles Goss had, Collins said his time as high school basketball tournament director meant the most to the state.
As the longtime tournament director, Jerry personally greeted every player from every team, wished them well, and congratulated them for their hard work and team spirit that had brought them to such an important moment in their lives.
During this year's tournament, a flower was placed in the spot Goss would sit to watch the game.